Hi everyone, welcome back to my vlog. On today's vlog, I'll be responding to one of my readers who wrote in this past week regarding a relationship situation that she's going through. So this reader, who chose to identify herself as going crazy, is currently in the beginning stages of a relationship with one of her coworkers. She thinks things are going really well, but however there have been some red flags coming up recently in this relationship, namely that he doesn't want to meet with her face to face and only wants to text her. And so now she's beginning to wonder if she should be direct with him and tell him that she needs to start meeting up with him in person for things to work out, or if she should just pull the trigger and cut things off with him. Well, crazy. I believe that there are two main concepts that you should be considering when looking at this relationship situation, which are perception and self-disclosure. Both of these concepts are crucial in having good relationship communication, and in this vlog I'll be examining these concepts a little more in depth and then letting you know how you can apply them to your situation with your coworker. So first off, let's talk about perception. Perception, as defined by the textbook Bridges, Not Walls, is a social/cognitive process in which people assign meanings to social and sensory cues. In any relationship, be it casual one, a familiar one, or a relationship one like this one is, we tend to assign meanings to people's behavior and responses depending on the intentions and context of the situation. So in your situation, Crazy, there are definitely some perceptions that I've noticed you've been making. For example, you perceive that this guy that you're seeing is a really great guy who is, quote, almost too good to be true. Based on some of the things he's been saying, you say he's funny and caring and kind. However, you also perceive that he likes you in a romantic way, based on some of the things that he has said and done. For example, he said explicitly to you that he likes you, but you also feel like he's starting to back it up by some of the things that he has done and the promises he's kept. However, you also think that he is holding back, because he doesn't want to meet face-to-face with you off the clock, which you're now beginning to perceive to me that maybe he doesn't like you as much as he claims to be. So based on your understanding of how relationships should work, maybe based on past relationships you've been in, relationships you've seen other people be in, or how the media portrays relationships, you are now creating a lens through which you are viewing this current relationship with your coworker. However, Crazy, what's important to remember is that you have control over this lens and how you can view this relationship. You can choose to perceive this relationship to be developing positively or negatively based on your own personal perceptions of the situation. However, you are missing a crucial factor, which is the perceptions of how your coworker feels about this relationship. Relationships are very two-sided, and your coworker also has a set of perceptions about you and about this relationship, the direction he wants it to go in, and a bunch of other things that could completely change how this relationship goes. For example, your coworker could have just gotten out of a bad relationship that went south because things moved too fast, so maybe he's trying to hold himself back so you or him don't get hurt again. However, you will not know this for sure until you are able to openly and honestly communicate with him about yourselves, your feelings, and your relationship. This brings me to the next concept I wanted to discuss, which is self-disclosure. Self-disclosure is how we can check our perceptions by first examining ourselves and then openly asking questions and being willing to mindfully listen to the other person in the relationship and their feelings and beliefs about the situation. You already seem to be on a path to self-disclosure, Crazy, as you admitted yourself that you don't want to play games with this guy and that you want to be straightforward with this relationship and the direction it takes moving forward. So there are three main steps to self-disclosure, which I think you should be aware of. The first is to be aware of who you are, second, to accept yourself, and then finally, to take the risk of trusting the other person, in this case your coworker, to be accepting of you. You already seem to have done the first step, which is to be aware of yourself, and your boundaries and your expectations that you want in any situation. Now, I think you need to move on to the next two steps in order for this relationship to go the way you want and for you able to make this difficult decision. First, you need to accept yourself, and you need to be accepting of what you want out of this relationship, what your boundaries are, what your expectations are, which you admitted yourself is that you want to meet face-to-face, you don't want this to just be over text. And then comes the hardest final step, which is to be honest and open with your coworker about how you feel about him, and then trust him to be accepting of your feelings and also to be open with you about his feelings. Now, I know this seems scary, as you maybe are afraid of ruining things with him, making it awkward, or just losing him for good. However, if it makes you feel any better, Psychology Today actually reported in a study that self-disclosure increases attraction and closeness in relationships, since it's able to kind of tear down walls between you and help you to feel like you can be more honest and get closer to one another. But even if it doesn't go this positive direction, and things between you and your coworker go south, I hope that you will be able to still take these steps as at the end of the day, your own perceptions and feelings about how your relationship are something that you do need to take in consideration, but you also need to be aware of how you feel and what's important to you in a relationship. And as you said it yourself, you don't want to get played. So I think you need to be honest with both yourself and both him, and hopefully at the end of the day be able to communicate about it. So in this vlog, I was able to discuss perception, self-disclosure, and how they apply to your situation, crazy. But I want you just to stop there. I hope that you will be able to take my advice and move into action, and that you will be able to be honest with your coworker and hopefully move things forward in a positive direction, or maybe even if it's a negative direction, at least you will have learned some positive advice and lessons on how to be better at communicating in relationships. Because at the end of the day, relational communication is the most important step in having a strong relationship. Thanks so much for listening, guys, and see you next time.